All right, so today we're going to cover two things. We're going to cover how to see and hear more in DayZ. Sound is going to be the first thing we start off with today, and what you're going to need to do first is jump over, and if you haven't gotten this yet, I do have a video on it, but it's super easy for you to download. It's a free software. You can use it with any headset, so you don't have to worry about that, but it's by SteelSeries. It's called Sonar. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to Google Sonar GG from SteelSeries. You're going to want to download Sonar GG, and I'll just show you really quick what it looks like. Again, if you guys don't have this software, it's going to change every single game that you play, so I really recommend downloading this software. Go to steelseries.com/gg/sonar or just Google SteelSeries Sonar. Click the orange button, download it. It's not a big software. It's really small. It's free. It can work with any headset. You don't have to have SteelSeries. It works with every headset, and it will change every single game you play. So download that really quick and then continue with the video. Okay, so now that you've downloaded SteelSeries, you're going to open up their main home page of their SteelSeries GG software. That's once you've downloaded Sonar. So you download Sonar, and you're going to see there's like home, there's moments, there's engine, there's giveaways. Ignore all of that. Just go straight to the Sonar tab. So once you get into SteelSeries GG and you've gone down to Sonar and you've gone from the mixer of setting up your headphones and your microphone preferabilities, or whatever you want to call them, just whatever you use for your microphone, whatever you use for hearing Discord sound and game sound, set it to your headphones. If you're using Voicemeeter Banana or anything else, get rid of that. Don't use it anymore. I used to use Voicemeeter Banana, but this replaces that. So get rid of that. Set it up with your headphones and your microphone, and then we're going to go over to the game tab. Now that we're in the game tab, this is my sound profile that I've custom configured and made to best match and best work with DayZ specifically. I actually use this sound profile in every other game I play, Warzone and everything else, and it works fabulously. But this was specifically, I tweaked it within DayZ, and I made it the best for hearing, you know, heli crashes, footsteps, and gunfire without your footsteps and your own gunfire being too loud. That was a huge issue. I didn't want to hear the noise of my guy's like backpack and his guns moving around and shit and have it kind of interfere with everything else. I didn't want the wind and the animal sounds to be too loud. I wanted to hear specific things. I wanted to hear enemy footsteps, I wanted to hear heli crashes, and I wanted to be able to really tell directionally where gunfire was coming from. And this is the sound profile that I made and tweaked to be best for that. So pause the video now that you have this downloaded and just drag these into place. You can literally just follow through in the video. I'm not going to take a lot of time to break it down and explain it. But here in the bass section, put this at 6 dB. In the lower bass section, you're going to want to put the 2 dB and the 120 hertz with the 0.707 right there where it would ever peak. And then you're going to want to do negative 1.5 dB, 350 hertz. Again, 0.707. 0 dB, 1 kilohertz, 0.707. Put this one at 2 kilohertz. I think that's kilohertz. I don't even know. 0.707. 4.0 and then 707. 0.707 by the way. 6 kilohertz. 0.707. 6.5 with the 1.5 dB and the 0.707. And then you're going to want to put the 3.0, 11.50, 707. And then 0 dB, 16 kilohertz, and finally the last 0.707. Just follow through, match this. You can literally pause the video, drag it to all these places. Super simple. I'm just showing it one more time for you guys in case you're pausing the video, running through it that way and matching them up. It's not too hard. But take a screenshot, pause the video, whatever you guys have to do, match that sound setting for DayZ. I promise you, you're going to hear more heli crashes. You're going to know exactly where they're at. You're going to hear more players when they're approaching you. You're going to not be annoyed by your footsteps. You're not going to be overpowered by your own gunfire. And you're going to hear more shots directionally and better tell where they're coming from. That's kind of my sound profile that I designed for DayZ in the software. And obviously, once you get that, then you can tweak it to your own liking. But I promise you, this is probably going to be the best it can get. I've worked on it for a while now, and this is what I figured out. All right, I had an itch. So in this section, it's going to be more of the visual section. This is going to be how to see players from further away, how to see and get more out of DayZ color-wise. And this is, again, these are going to be my configs, my preferences, and you can adjust them how you would like. I'm going to teach you guys how to go into your player config file first before you open DayZ. And this is where we're going to set it up so that you get the max view distance of objects and players. And that way you can save this so that it can't be overridden by the different servers you play, and you will carry those settings over. So where we're going to start first for the visual aspect of DayZ and being able to see things and people from further away is actually going to be in the files of the game. This isn't like corrupting the game or anything. This is actually just your own player settings. And this is going to be how you set those to your preferences and how you save it so that it can't be overridden by all the different servers you play. That was a lot of bullshit, but hopefully I didn't lose you there. Go into Documents, go into DayZ, and then you're going to want to go down and find whatever your computer is named or your profile would be named. You're going to want to go into that. Once you found that file and you open it up, it's going to open up a notepad that looks like this. It's going to show the most recent server you played on and all the preferences. And yours is probably going to look very different when you come down here to these lines right here where it says scene complexity, shadow distance, view distance, and preferred object view distance. These are where you're going to find obviously the view distance settings and the render settings for how far things will render out. Now, most servers will override this for server performance. It doesn't have anything to do with each individual player per se. It does override it for the player, but it's really just what the host server is setting the server's view distance to for performance reasons. So you can go in and adjust it for your own preference and your own performance reasons of your machine, whatever your computer is capable of. Whether you need to lower it or rise it is up to you, but that's why you're able to go in and do this, because it's not really like for the server per se, it's for your own individual character versus the server just sets it to its default settings for the server performance. But anyways, go down to scene complexity, go down to view distance. You're going to want your scene complexity to be 1,000,000. So if that's different, set that. Your shadow distance should be right here, that 125. And then what I do is I set my view distance both for your visual view, which is right there, 5,000, and then object view distance for how far out you're going to see different objects, trees, cars, helicopters, whatever it is. That's going to be 5,000. So you're going to want to set those to 5,000. At least that's what I do. That's what my computer is capable of. And outside of 5,000, I think that's pretty unreasonable. You don't need to see anything outside of 5,000 meters because, I mean, you're not going to, when you're taking a shot in DayZ, it's, under probably 1,000 meters. So you really don't need to see much more than that. I just do that because when I'm running through the game, I like to see things in the distance. I don't like to see a sheet of fog. I like to actually see the trees. I like to see the mountains and the landscape and whatnot. And then also if I do see a player, 2,000 meters out, I want to, I like to see everything. And that's what this is for, is being able to see everything. So if you want, again, just take a screenshot. It's going to be these things right here that are going to matter. So just the 1,000,000, the 125, 5,000, and 5,000. Set those up. And then the other thing you're going to want to do, which is really important for this file, obviously, save it. Mine's already saved. You just want to make sure that's saved up. Once you've saved that file, you're actually going to want to go back and you're going to want to right click and go to properties. This is a very important part of this step. Once you have set those to 5,000, once you've set all of those settings up in your character file, you're going to want to right click it and go to properties. When you go to properties, you're simply going to want to go down in general and make sure you select it to read only. This is going to be where you're setting the file to not be able to be overridden by the servers you play on. If you don't set it to read only, then every time you get on a server, it's going to default to the server's preference and the server's performance settings. So please make sure once you've saved that you select and set that file to read only so it cannot be edited by the system. Click OK, save that, and that will be just for the view distance settings. There's a few other things we're going to jump into the game, and I'm going to show you guys that you can do to make things to have better view distance and shit. Let's jump into the game really quick, and I'll show you guys a few more things that I do. Alright, so the only thing you're going to need for your in-game settings that's really going to matter here is the object detail needs to be set to extreme. That's going to be where you get the most distance render-wise for players. Put it on extreme. That allows you to see players at the max distance that DayZ allows it. All the rest of this is kind of going to be preference, but I really recommend just set everything else to low, just like my settings. So go extreme and then just low all the way down, lower everything. The only thing that maybe you will want to change is this right here, the foliage smoothing. If you want to fuck with that for your own sake, you can go right ahead, but I really recommend object detail extreme, the rest all low, all the way down. That's super simple for the game settings. The next thing we're going to want to get into is NVIDIA filters. So I'm going to show you guys that, and if you don't have an NVIDIA graphics card, then there are other options for you to use filters, but you'll kind of have to figure that out on your own because I use NVIDIA. So when you are in game and you Alt-Z, when you hit Alt-Z in game and you have the NVIDIA GeForce Experience software, it'll pop up a little menu in game that's going to look very similar to what I have on screen right here. What you're going to want to do is go over to where I have it highlighted green, and you're going to click game filters, and that's where you're going to add these filters that I'm going to put up on screen, and that's what's going to make your game look more like my game.